Mandee, I found you. Find your people, and I found you.
Listen,
Neither one of us are in our normal places.
we exactly. It was a little bit challenging today.
It is. Where are you? First of all, remind the people where you are.
I'm in Nashville, and I remembered my microphone this time, so I'm not in a closet.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
And you're with your sister and you're cooking all the things.
I am. In
I
fact, my
saw
timer my timer will probably go off again in like 3 minutes and 48 seconds.
look, Alexa is our friend today, so we will just do the things. Um,
Where are you, my friend?
I am in the most lovely place. I, I'm it's wonderful. And I'm thinking that maybe this is going to be my forever Thanksgiving home.
I don't blame you. You sent me some pictures.
Oh
I
my
could get used
gosh.
to
And
that.
I'm going to go into total detail about it, especially in the food portion, but um I'm at a place called High Hampton. If you know anything about Cashers, North Carolina, or Highlands, North Carolina, this is an old Edwards Inn property. And it is a night. It was built. The original inn was built in like the 20s, so it's a historic property. It's on the National Register, which that makes my heart happy because I love old buildings. And there are Adirondack chairs and umbrellas everywhere. There's a lake. There's a golf course. There are these lodges. You can rent individual rooms or you can rent cabins. I am currently not in my room because my room, the shower door wouldn't close, so it made a mess this morning when I showered. I did shower, by the way.
I'm so proud of you.
Um,
You've already showered. You're an
yeah,
overachiever.
well, I had to come to breakfast. So the little guy at the front desk was like, "Oh, no problem. We'll put you in an empty room." I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So I'm in a random room in the inn. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
room. Um, and I have a great view of this vista. Um,
good,
there's a mountain across from me, and it's just
good.
great. It's beautiful, and they wait on you hand and foot. Like before I came, they found out some things about me, and they're like, "Oh, Miss Griffiths, how's school going?" I'm like,
That's, listen,
"You a stalker?"
that is real fancy.
Yeah,
You are bougie
yeah,
AF.
yeah, and um,
I'm here for it.
I normally don't tell people right away what I do because they give now if you say you're a preacher, which is very unfortunate, they give you the side eye because there's so many people that have done so much damage in the church.
I'm
Uh,
not.
but I was like, I mean, do y'all need a chaplain? I'll be your like resident United Methodist chaplain and do all the weddings.
Listen, that would be a great gig.
Look, I mean, um, but yeah, they've been great. So the guy that's the in the restaurant with he's not the maitre, I guess he's the maitre d', maybe he's the restaurant manager. This morning when I came to breakfast, he's like, "Did you finish your book last night?" And I was like, "No, I just started it." Like he's the one that brought me so they brought me a light to my table for extra lighting so I could read my book last night.
Katie.
Oh my god, like this place. But I highly encourage it. High Hampton, it is worth every penny. It is beautiful. They are wonderful people. So that's where I am.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I
Yeah.
like to hear it.
Yep. Um,
Um,
well, here's if you aren't following us on Instagram, I know Mandee will tell us all about the food things that she's doing today, but if you are not following us on Instagram, you should, if only to hear Mandee say, take things out of the front and the back.
listen, turkey. Hold please just a second.
All right. I'll
I
talk
gotta
for a
get the
minute more.
pumpkin bread. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the pumpkin bread is being baked and she's got to go check it, but um she did a great video. And last week we talked about how the turkey neck was a phallic symbol, and then if there's a teenage boy around, you should get the neck out with him watching.
And he
And,
was on a date last night and missed it. And the
oh,
look of disappointment on his face when I told him it had already happened
well, it's a
was
good,
so
he
good.
needs to follow us on Instagram because it was there. and it said you said pull things out of the front and the back, and I
Well,
about
if
fell
you've
on the floor.
if you've never done a turkey before,
You don't know the giblets are in the rear end,
you
but
don't know where to find everything. So I'm
yep.
just here to serve.
Look,
I'm here to
it was
serve.
amazing, and several people have requested. Apparently, you have to request access to the Google Docs.
I just changed that actually.
Okay, so I have
So
been sending
hopefully
out. I've been giving people access
I just did one too to
as
my
they
beloved
come in.
friend Mildred Smith
Okay,
Anderson.
yeah,
Did you work with Mildred at Geico?
that name sounds awfully familiar.
She's from Moultrie. I wanted to be Mildred when
Okay,
I grew up when I was a young girl.
yeah.
And so she went to Mercer. She was a 5 at Mercer.
Well, good find
Um,
you, as we like to call them.
she she's 2 years older than my sister.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and so but I wanted to be Mildred to the extent that at one point when she was in college, I went to audition for Allstate, and it was on Mercer's campus. And I begged my mom to find out where Mildred got her hair cut so that I could go get my hair cut
At the
by
same
Mildred's
place.
hairdresser while we were there. Unfortunately, my hair did not come out looking like Mildred's because the man literally took like both sides of my hair and pulled them up on top of my head and cut bangs and then permed them. So I had permed bangs from about the
What?
middle of my head forward. It did not look like Mildred's hair at all. But anyway, love Mildred. And she just requested a
Oh,
share
good.
to
Good,
the
good, good. Okay, I
menu.
was gonna
Makes me
go
so
in.
happy.
Yeah, I love that. People are listening.
They are. They are.
Yeah,
God love them.
God love them.
Um, yeah. So, um, what do we want to go off our
Yeah,
little?
yeah. So,
You want to go or you want to go?
I mean, I think I'll go ahead and go because I'm so sad about the first thing I have to talk about. It's just I I'm in mourning. I think Auburn this week. Well, what they did was they took my heart out of my chest and then they stomped on it and then they tried to put it back, but it didn't fit. So they shoved it back in there and hurt it some more. We paid New Mexico State $1.8 million. Every time I say it, I want to put my pinky to my mouth to come beat us. And not just beat us, like smackdown.
Stomp, stomp
Stomp that
on you.
sucker flat, as Los Garzar used
Woo,
to say. Woo wee.
that was
Oh,
painful. And a week after y'all stomped on Arkansas.
like that's what's so weird to me about the whole thing. So this season has been crazy anyway, but we were gaining momentum and doing better. And then after the Arkansas game, I thought, is there hope for Alabama? Like, is there a smidge?
You
Is
might
there
have
hope?
vocalized it.
And then Auburn said, no, there's no
Sorry,
hope.
Katie. Sorry, Katie.
We're done. So the Saturday is going to be a horrible. I'm not sure I'm going to watch. It's going to be horrible. It's at Auburn. So that's the only saving grace because it really is one of those games where you can throw out the rest of the season. However, New Mexico State,
That was painful, man. That was painful.
$1.8 million. So you're welcome, New Mexico State. And I don't know if you saw this. I like Texas A&M. I think I love their little cheer, the leaders, those Aggie
Yell, midnight yell. Like they don't have
yell
cheerleaders.
leaders. Yeah, they're
They
not
don't have
cheerleaders, they
cheerleaders. They have yell leaders.
yell leaders. They're military guys. They're so cute. They're so they're real cute, with their anyway. So the 12 man play they have not done since like the 80s. And the 12th man play is every non scholarship walk on player gets to go on the field at the same time.
That's so cool.
And they did it again this past Saturday in honor of
Listen, I don't know what it was in honor of. I just know that
the
they have to employ everybody that's not getting any money from them because they just pay Jimbo Fisher all their money.
So it was the anniversary of the last one, like the 40th or whatever. The guys were all there. So they recreated it and let all the walk ons go on the field at the same time on a kickoff. And they kicked off and then they caused a fumble and recovered it. And it was just, they were so
Awesome.
excited. And it was amazing. It
Yeah,
brought
love
back,
that.
well, Auburn crushed my spirit. Texas A&M raised it. So
Good,
if
good.
you haven't seen that video, they were just so excited to be playing on the field, and then they got to do such a great thing together. It was really, really, really good.
Did you listen to the Big Boo cast? I think it was last week. So the Big Boo cast is Melanie Shankle, who is an Aggie fan,
Yep,
and Sophie Hudson, who is a Mississippi State fan, and they're a riot. And if y'all don't listen to that, y'all should totally listen to that.
do it.
But they, when the Aggies played Mississippi State, Melanie and Sophie did a live recording of the podcast, I think on Thursday night, maybe Friday night, I don't
I
remember.
think so, yeah.
And then they went to went to the game, did all the things. And Melanie's daughter, who is a sophomore at Texas A&M,
Sophomore or junior, I can't remember. She's not a senior yet.
she's dating like one of the head
Yeah,
yell leader dudes.
yeah,
So they get like all this like prime access to everything. And so
yeah.
they do this thing called Midnight Yell on Friday before a game on Saturday. And they took Sophie with them. And Sophie was like, I'm not convinced that y'all aren't doing like some voodoo
I
and you
know.
haven't accidentally conjured up some bad spirits.
You
At that,
are a
that she
cult.
was basically like, that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
She said, like, you could tell who wasn't an Aggie because, like, y'all would all bend over at the same time or move this way or that way, and the rest of us were
like
just
going to
standing
Catholic.
there like, what the hell is this?
It's like going to Catholic mass for the
I
first
know,
time.
right? For all of us Methodists that don't know what the hell to sit and stand and kneel. I love it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so
definitely
funny.
cultish, but my heart was so warmed. And my heart doesn't get warmed anymore because College Game Day doesn't do warm and fuzzy stories. So,
Well, and Auburn took it out and stomped on it. So
oh, big time. I crushed it.
poor
Crushed
baby.
my soul. It was so bad.
Oh.
The other thing I did this week, and I know it's not my Find Your Favorites week, so I want to make sure that you saw this and watched it because it would be a great Thanksgiving watch because I cried. It's so tender and so kind. It's on HBO Max. It's called David Holmes, The Boy Who Lived. And he was the stunt man for Daniel
Daniel
Radcliffe,
Radcliffe.
and he's the one that broke his neck doing a stunt. And he's in a wheelchair. He's a is paraplegic. He's losing his arms. It is, and they're all still friends. So Daniel Radcliffe is one of the producers and featured heavily in it. And he said, the other actors we are all great friends, but it's the stuntmen that they are very close. They are all best friends, and they because they literally did every scene together.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if it was Daniel Radcliffe doing the stunts himself, they would show him how to do it first. And they would work it all out and then teach him how to do it. So they literally did every single scene with him, whether they were in it or not. And if you love Harry Potter, it's a great look at that movie from a different angle. If you love a good friendship story, it is the sweetest, tenderest, kindest. It makes me love Daniel Radcliffe even more, which I didn't think was possible because he's such a kind person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I highly recommend you go watch it if you need something to make your heart happier than Auburn football.
Good. That's
Yeah.
listen, I binged. I don't know that I would recommend it. It's very well done. It was um the showrunner was the same guy who did Lost.
Okay.
So if you liked Lost, like it's sort of, and then he also did, what was the show on HBO that was like, is it The Leftovers? Is that what it was? Where it was like
Mandee.
post capture.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Also
yeah.
an excellent show, but like dark.
Yeah.
Um, but I met some friends, some fellow wine rescue friends were in town last week from New Orleans, and I met them for a drink one night, and we were talking about the fact that the wife, Lauren, ended up going to high school in Walton County after
Oh,
Katrina. And so we were like talking about, first of all, the fact that they were in high school when Katrina hit. I was like, okay, you're
first of
baby.
all, that's hateful.
Right. But she was telling me about the show on Apple TV, and it's called 5 Days at Memorial.
Oh, I couldn't. I got through like day 3 and it was just, it's so painful.
Y'all,
It is so painful.
it's so well done.
It is well done. I
I'm not a
completely agree.
masochist, but like I would much rather watch a sad drama than a comedy.
Yeah,
So like, I couldn't stop it. But I'm here to tell you, and
it's a
I had
lot.
my friend Christy had told me about, because she worked for she lives at the beach now, and she had worked for a breast cancer clinic that was attached to Memorial.
Yeah,
So their plan had been, worst case, we can just go to my office because we'll know we'll have power,
yeah,
and they are letting us bring our animals with us. So,
yeah,
worst case scenario, we'll go to my office. Her husband was doing his residency at Tulane. He grew up in Covington, and he was the one that was like, "Oh, we don't need to evacuate. We don't need to evacuate." And then, like, I can't remember exactly when, the day before, maybe at like 5 in the morning, she said he came and woke her up, standing over her bed. Get the dogs, pack one
yeah,
bag, and get in the car. We're leaving.
yeah.
Like, so thank goodness they did, because had they been in Memorial, y'all,
They would have been in that mess.
and all the animals were euthanized because they could not be evacuated because they couldn't get all the people out so
Yeah,
they didn't have space for the animals, y'all. They euthanized all of those
yeah.
animals, and the scene of the doctor, and the way it was portrayed was that it was one guy who just did them all. And God, can you imagine?
No,
And then it gets worse from there.
yeah.
It gets worse
It
from there.
it
Oh my
is. I
gosh.
had to watch it in snippets, and then
See, I did.
finally,
I went in and
ooh,
mainlined 4 episodes
I don't know
immediately, and I was
how
like,
you could
"What
do that.
am I doing?" But then I
Yeah,
couldn't stop. Like I was in it
yeah.
at the point, I couldn't stop.
So
Um,
I feel it. Are you a Crown watcher?
uh-huh. I
This season of
started
The
it.
Crown is very dark as well.
Oh,
I
good.
watched it, and it's very good. The woman playing Diana has her mannerisms like it's eerie,
Yeah,
but it is dark, y'all. It starts in Paris.
yeah. I just finished the episode where she and Dodie were first sort of together out on the
Yeah,
boat.
it is,
Um, so I hadn't gotten to the really dark part yet.
it's hard to watch. I mean, maybe for all the youngins, it won't be hard to watch because they didn't live it, but, like, gosh, it was just hard to
So
watch.
sad. That's how I felt going through the 9/11 museum. It's like
Yeah,
everybody should go, but I could like I was there with
yeah,
my friend Leslie, who lived in DC at the time, and we finally looked at each other. We're like, "This isn't for us." Like we
yeah,
vividly remember all of this. Like we don't have to do all of this. We can
yeah,
speed
yeah.
through here.
I the one thing I haven't done in DC that I really want to do, well, maybe not, I don't know. I haven't decided, is Holocaust
It's
because
You know what, and that I think is different because we didn't live
yeah,
it.
but, my grandfather was held captive by the Nazis.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he was captured, by the Nazis. I'll tell that story someday. It's a fantastic story of survival, but Um, I just can't. Ugh. And they're coming out. This is a rabbit hole that I didn't think we'd go down, but they're coming out. They did Band of Brothers, which is great.
I watch it every Memorial Day.
They did Pacific,
Which was even better than Band of Brothers, if you ask me.
they're doing one about the Air Force, which is not Morris's group, but it's a group that kind of parallels his story. And so
Sign me up.
I'm not I mean, I'm going to be a weepy mess. I'm just going to put that out there. Prepare yourselves when I talk about it. I'm sure we'll talk about it. I will be a weepy mess. So,
Yeah. Yeah, if
it
you've never
is
watched any of those,
so good.
definitely do that. They are
Oh,
so good.
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really, really good.
Here's something that'll make you laugh. My dad's dad fought in the Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah.
And so at the bottom of the, not his headstone, but the like stone on top that lies
Yeah.
flat on top of the grave, at the very bottom, it says Battle of the Bulge on it. But when my grandmother died, and we're at her graveside service, my sister, who is a very smart individual, y'all. I mean,
Yes.
she's a nurse practitioner. She graduated from Vanderbilt twice. Like, she's very smart and very good at her job. She looks at me at my grandmother's funeral and she points out the Battle of the Bulge and she goes, Mac wasn't fat.
Shut up. I love it. Your sister is so smart. She's dumb. It's one of those people. Like, she's so smart.
Oh God.
Oh, come
She
on.
just had no clue. No
Is
clue.
she blonde like
No,
me?
no.
Okay.
She's like, I didn't know what.
What? Oh my gosh. Is he fat? I love
Oh
it. I
my
love it.
God, so funny.
Yeah, no, I'll tell. So Mars was captured on the 3rd of July. So that week this year, when we get
Wow,
to our July, um, that week I'll tell the story. It's a great story. I preach about it every year on that Sunday.
that's
Um,
cool.
it's
Well,
a
good.
it's a
I'll look
really
forward
good
to
story.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, you've
in
got
other
some Braves updates, ma'am.
in
I've
other
seen a
sports
few things. I
news,
can't wait.
golly, the Braves. So I didn't think the Braves could break my heart this year because 2 years ago we had Freddie,
Yeah,
last year we had Dansby, and
yeah,
so Max Fried will be a free agent next year. I've already decided he's gone. Like, I'm
yeah.
just not holding out any hope that Max is going to stay. Max is gone. But they didn't really have a big free agent, somebody going on that was eligible for
Sure.
free agency this year. So I just wasn't prepared. And y'all, they have traded away Kyle Wright, and he was our last Vandy boy. We have watched Kyle Wright pitch since Will was a bat boy for Vandy, and so I mean we've been watching Kyle Wright pitch
Yeah.
since he was 18.
So do you think they'll pick somebody up though? Is there
Well,
somebody
so
coming
here's
up?
what they've done. So you can have 40 men. It's called your 40-man roster,
Right.
and so that's like the maximum number of players like you can keep.
Right.
They traded away. They are down to 30. They may have added one or two this week. They at one point were down to 30 men on their 40-men roster. So it's a big question as to there are several free agents
Okay.
available.
Yeah.
And so it's a question of, are they making room to get one big guy and then they're going to fill up the roster with some guys in AAA?
Right.
They have, trying to think, they've added several pitchers, mostly relievers. So Kyle had to have surgery on his shoulder, so he can't pitch at all next year.
Okay.
So that's part of why I'm sure that they would have kept him otherwise, because he had a great year before when he wasn't hurt. So they're just, Alex Anthopoulos is obviously trying to shore up the pitching big time, because he's our bullpen. The joke on Braves Twitter right now is, we don't need any starters. We'll just get 3 innings out of the starters and turn it over to the bullpen, because he's really shored up the bullpen. But it was just really sad. But one of the starting pitchers that people are talking about that we may get is a Vandy guy. His name's Sonny Gray.
Well, at least
Um,
there'll be somebody, right?
I hope because we ain't got no Vandy boys on the Braves right now, and that's very sad.
That's very
Very
sad.
sad. Um, so it'll be interesting. The Cubs are apparently, I don't really believe this, they're apparently in the running for Shohei Ohtani, who is a free agent this year. You know, he's the Japanese
Yep.
guy who has played for the Angels, who is a pitcher and a, you know, outfielder. He had to have surgery, so he's not going to be able to pitch next year. But it's he everybody anticipates that he will get the biggest contract ever in baseball,
I saw that.
wherever
It
he
was
signed.
like it was ridiculous.
Like half $500,000 is what
Yeah.
people are anticipating.
Yeah. It's more than what Auburn paid New Mexico State. Sorry, I'm
there,
still not over that.
there you go. And then I also had a good time watching the Monday Night Football this week because America's Boyfriend lost to America's Big Brother
I know.
on Monday night.
Revenge from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's the first time that Jason Kelce has beat Travis Kelce
Yes.
since they haven't played as much as you would think because they're in different conferences. But and Patrick Mahomes, my Lord, watching
So
that man
good.
play football is astounding.
He's so good. He is one of those natural talents that you just don't see very often at all.
But the way, I mean, the way he scrambles out of the pocket and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, he's toast. And then he just manages to throw and, you know, throws a decent ball. Too bad nobody can catch it on his team. But then the other thing I've heard him talk about on the podcast a lot, they talk about the tush push,
Push, push. Yep.
also known as the brotherly shove.
Yep.
And like anybody that's ever watched football knows, you know, has seen when you got fourth and one or third and one, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and they just all kind of push the ball over the
Yeah.
yard line so they can get the first down. But this formation is hysterical. Have you seen it?
Yes.
They get low.
Yeah. They
They get
look
real low,
real low.
and it's more sort of concentrated in the center. Like they're not at all lined up like you would normally line up. They're all just concentrated in the center and they're real low and they literally just push each other's butts.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But they've only like not converted, I think, once, maybe twice.
Yeah. Maybe
In
twice.
2 years.
Yeah. So crazy.
Nuts.
And I don't know why other teams don't do it if it works so well.
So
Maybe they don't like to
they
push
talked
the push.
about the Chiefs don't do it because Patrick Mahomes got hurt on a quarterback keeper. So they won't do it anymore. But isn't that funny? It was so funny. But anyway, so that was
I love it.
those
Have
were
you
mine.
seen the video? I was watching TikTok a little this morning of his oldest daughter, Wyatt, doing the 3-point stance like her daddy.
With that arm back behind her back.
With the arm behind her back, which she doesn't do, but she does. I mean, it's the cutest thing. Those little girls, I mean, those Kelce genes are strong. They look just like their daddy. Just like their daddy.
Two other things I didn't have on the outline, but last night, I haven't watched it yet. We recorded it, but apparently last night's True South episode.
Yeah, it's
checked all my boxes.
Okay.
It's in Georgia. It's in Dublin.
Yep.
The soundtrack for the whole thing is Jason Isbell. And Wright Thompson wrote an article about how Jason's music is sort of the soundtrack for the South.
Yeah.
In GQ magazine, and it was so good. It talks about, speaking of little girls, it talks about him taking his younger daughter because the older daughter had gotten to go to a concert, and so the younger daughter was like, Daddy, I want to go to a concert. And so he called up Jason's team and took her to an Isbell concert in St. Augustine, and now she's like, Daddy, I want to watch a band. And every time that, what she means is she wants to watch Jason Isbell. So listen, me and Louise Wright need to hang out.
Look, and if you haven't watched that documentary, I've watched it like 5 times.
It's very good.
On Max, right? HBO. The Jason Isbell documentary is just fabulous. I can't wait to watch that True South. I may watch that tonight after dinner.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's so
Um,
good. So, so
and
good.
and the other thing, in case y'all were wondering, a thing I do not have time for on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving when I am at my third grocery store before 8:30 in the morning is for a man to back his bloomin' pickup truck into a space. I don't have time to wait for you to do that, sir. That's all. That's all.
Love that. I love that rant. I'm here for it. Um, so we weren't really sure if we were going to do this episode or not. So I didn't have a ton prepared for my food section, but I thought I would tell you everything I've eaten so far here at High Hampton because it's all
Can't wait.
delicious. So last night, I got in, uh, came up here. I mean, I'm reading, and I know you're gonna follow up with lessons in chemistry, so I'm reading lessons in chemistry. So I brought the book with me to start it.
Good.
I came to the tavern and got a lovely little bourbon drink to have a little happy hour and start my reading, which was delicious. It was kind of like a penicillin. Have you ever had a penicillin? It's got lemon
Mhm.
and honey and bourbon. Anyway, it was really good. So I had that. The little guy swirled the rim of my glass with some mint. You know, it was great.
No biggie.
I know. And then I came up here to the restaurant and I have the best little waitress. And I find my people and gather them. Hello. And so I was like, when are you working this week? Can you be my waitress tomorrow night? You're so great. Her name's Morgan, and I just love her. And she told me all the good things to get off the menu. So I had last night pappardelle with wild boar ragu
Yum.
and whipped ricotta that was divine.
Sounds divine.
It was something in it, and maybe it was something in the whipped ricotta was just a little bit sweet, just a touch. So it really balanced out the boar and the tomatoey pappardelle sauce. Anyway, it was so good. Had a glass of cab with it. And as I said before, I was reading my book, and I guess they could tell I'm old, so they brought an extra light to my table. And they were like, "Is this bright enough? Would you like it brighter?" And I was like, "That's amazingly fine. Thank you." And then last night I had a chocolate cake with a salted caramel icing that was it was divine.
The deep breath you just took.
I know. It was just so good. And then I got an Irish coffee to go with it. Because I'm not
Nicely
driving
done.
anywhere, so I might as well. And I spread everything out, so I was not inebriated, but it was so good. The little guy at the bar apparently says he specializes in Irish coffee. Like,
Listen,
I'm here
if
for it.
you are a bartender at a bar and
Yeah,
Cashers, like in the mountains,
yeah,
I feel like that's a good thing for you to
yeah,
specialize in.
yeah, yeah. And what I did say to him, I said, or say to Morgan to tell him was, look, I'm very old and I need decaf coffee and my Irish coffee, or I will be up at 2 o'clock in the morning cussing your name.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So,
might have done an espresso martini, um, last weekend or weekend before last
yeah.
at Downtown Grill,
Oh, so
and
good, right?
they didn't have, decaf.
Mm,
I was up late.
all night,
Yeah.
all night. So then I got up this morning. I slept a little bit later than I normally do, but I got up this morning and I went in and they had
Listen,
their
you
over.
showered.
I did shower. I showered. They had overnight oats on the menu this morning, and holy crap, Mandee! They had sautéed apples on them. They had like a oat brittle. and toasted pumpkin seeds.
See,
And
I like a contrast in my textures with my
yes,
oatmeal.
it was crunchy and creamy and salty and sweet and lovely. They also have a pastry of the day,
As you do.
and today was cinnamon rolls with an orange icing. And I love orange flavor anything. It was soft and yeasty and pillowy and lovely.
Good.
Last night too, they have bread, but they have butter that they have softened and put in these little ramekins and sprinkled salt over. Shut your mouth. It was so good. So tonight when they bring me the bread, I'm gonna ask for 2 things of butter
I think you should.
because it's just the perfect consistency. It was spreadable.
Right, don't bring me a cold pat of
Don't
butter.
bring me cold butter.
Keep it.
Just
Keep
don't
it.
do it. It's
No.
not worth it. But it was
Right.
soft with that salt on top. Oh my gosh. Oh, Mandy,
Nice talking.
let me tell you, the detail, the level of detail that these people go to is just enormous. So
Good, I'm
I'll
so
put
glad.
all the things on there. I do eat layered cake a little weird. So I eat the cake out and then I go back and eat the icing as Jesus intended it. So I will put all the pictures on the Instagram, but
I hope my nephew doesn't come downstairs and hear you say that, because he's one of those people that eats one thing at a time.
yeah, me too.
It drives me crazy.
That's how Jesus tell him that that's how Jesus intended it.
I'm not telling him about the cake.
Yes, you eat cake, you eat the cake out, and then you leave the icing, and then you go back and they eat the icing.
I'm not telling him.
And if it's like one of those little real thin layer, 14 layer cakes, you have to eat like because you can't do it that way. So you have to eat like the same number. Like if it's 14 layers, you gotta like carve out and make it even.
I feel like there's some therapy for this.
I'm OCD weird. Like I'm OCD about the weirdest stuff. And cake is one of them. So you tell Will Caldwell that he's not alone.
I'm not telling him about the cake.
Oh, I'll tell him next time I see him. I can't wait.
Well, listen, I'm so glad everything. I can't wait to hear about your Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah, so there is gonna be a special menu. I don't know what I'm gonna get tonight. Maybe, there's a trout on the menu that looked good, so I may do that. Um, and so I don't know tonight or she did say that Thursday would be a different menu, so I can't wait to see what it is.
I know, me
I'll
either.
post about it, I'm sure, on our Instagram.
Listen, I got here last night, so we were talking about. I sent the shopping list to Lewis and
Right.
Julie, and Julie was like, "What size turkey?" And they always say it's better to get a smaller turkey because they're just better.
Yeah,
We're those weird people that never have enough leftover turkey
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
So I've started doing a breast and a turkey, and it's just not the same. So I said, we could easily eat 2 14-pound turkeys.
Do you have 2?
Yes, ma'am.
I saw the one on Instagram. You have 2?
So I'm cooking one today. I've got it sitting on the counter, coming to room temperature. Cooking 2 14-pound turkeys.
For, like, 5 people?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so 14 times 2, that's 28 divided by 5. That's 5 pounds a person.
So we don't eat a lot of dark meat.
That is 5 pounds a person.
Listen, we like our turkey.
I
I
Katie
can't
might
listen.
be wrong, but I think that comes out to about 5 pounds a person.
I can't remember who reminded me of
Get
this.
it, girl.
This past week, I can't remember who reminded me, but Lewis doesn't listen to the podcast, so I can tell y'all this. His children were coming over last year and gonna like on Friday for lunch, and everybody was gonna have some leftovers.
Yeah.
Will and Julie and I might have gone and hidden one of the dressings at the bread pudding. So they didn't finish it.
I, I
I'm not
feel like
proud. I'm not proud, but it
Jesus
happened.
is gonna smite you today.
And I made 2 bread puddings last year. I'm sure I'll
And you
make another
still
bread
did
pudding this
one?
year.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, we are here for some Thanksgiving food.
Clearly, weirdos. I love y'all so much. You hid the extra dressing and bread pudding.
1000%. We were like, go get it, quick, quick. I had totally forgotten about it. I can't remember who reminded me. Probably Birch.
Nobody tell Lewis.
So bad.
I
So
love it.
bad.
I love it. I love it.
Oh boy.
Well, I will
Yeah.
keep y'all
Yeah.
posted on all the food that I eat. I will post it on the Find Your Friends.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my random favorites for the
It's the
week.
most random list, but I'm
So
here for it.
I have like a couple of different Instagram accounts. And one of my Instagram
Yep.
accounts, like once I get past all
I'm,
the
I'm getting my phone out so I can follow these people.
once I get past the like regular people I follow, and then it shows you like suggested stuff. For some reason, it started suggesting bloopers from The Office, and there's all kind
Ah,
like if you just search Office bloopers,
yeah.
like The Office bloopers, they're about 4 or 5 accounts, but there's something about those bloopers in particular because those people are cracking each other up
Yes.
and they're hysterical people anyway. But then to watch them break character and cry laughing. I don't know. It's just delightful, which I'm a big bloopers fan anyway.
So
Do you
I've
remember when
gotten
we were
lately.
kids? Do you remember we were kids? There used to be a show. I'm pretty sure it was Johnny Carson's sidekick. What was his name? Ed McMahon. I'm
Ed
pretty sure it was
McMahon.
hosted by Ed McMahon. And it was
Yes.
like America. It wasn't America's Funniest Bloopers, but maybe it was.
Maybe
But
it
it was a
was.
whole show
Yeah.
dedicated to bloopers.
Yes.
I loved that show.
Yeah. I think it's because Matthew Perry just died, but I've been getting a lot of Friends bloopers.
So good, right?
So
Have you
good.
seen, I
When they
saw one where they were doing the pivot
pivot,
scene.
that's exactly what I was about to say. Pivot. They were just cracking each other up.
Died
And
laughing.
Jennifer Aniston was like, "Will you please stop so we can finish this mess?"
I just love bloopers. I
I
don't know why.
love it. I love it. I
Which is
love it.
like I don't like silly comedy stuff, but I love a blooper. So I
That's
guess I
why
have
I
to.
think I like the SNL ones when they crack each other up. I don't normally like much on SNL, but when they break character and like when they start
Uh,
laughing at each other when they're not supposed to, it makes me happy.
yeah, yeah. So bloopers. Find yourself some bloopers, friends. They'll make you laugh. Um, and then I just wanted to follow up. I think these were 2 of your favorites: the television show Lessons in
Yes.
Chemistry.
So I haven't watched that yet because you told me to read the book first.
Good, good,
That's
yes,
what I'm doing this week is reading the book.
good. So I'm all caught up on the television show, and it is excellent.
Oh,
It's
good.
excellent. They
'Cause
do
sometimes
change,
you don't know.
yeah, they do change one plot point, pretty big, but the way they changed it is fine, and it leads to a whole nother set of character development, and they're good characters, so it's fine.
Okay.
Um, and then the Beckham documentary.
So good.
Are you kidding me?
So good.
How is David Beckham that good looking?
Uh, well, and she is,
Oh, yes.
yeah, but he looks so much better now than he did when he was younger. And I thought he
Yeah.
was really hot back then,
Right?
but now he's even better.
Too much and heartwarming and just
Uh,
and the story
Real. Like they
I
didn't pull
didn't
any
know
punches at all.
I didn't know I'm not a big soccer fan.
Yeah.
The World Cup
I
about
didn't
once
know
a
all that stuff
year.
either.
I had no idea he was so hated for so long and
Yes.
it was but anyway, it's great. So yes, I would like to second those 2
Highly
recommendations.
recommend.
And then this is actually coming out. This podcast will come out the day after Thanksgiving, so it's Black Friday when y'all are
Mhm.
listening to this. So I thought we're going to do some gift guide stuff later on. So
Yes.
instead of giving like specific recommendations of things, I thought I would recommend some folks to follow who are always good with
Yeah.
sales suggestions and that
I
sort
have,
of thing.
yep. I have now followed all the people on that list.
Okay, yeah. So the first one is Lucky Peacock Designs. She's a woman who lives in Dallas, and she likes to shop thrift sales. And so like she started as sort of an interior design, like just posting pretty rooms she liked, but she has a knack
Yeah.
for finding stuff. So she's kind of shifted to more of that. But she always has really good um she she al- she does like she'll recommend sort of if you're going on a girls trip,
Hmm.
she will always do a little gift set for all her friends on the girls trip, and she can find stuff that's not, you know, exorbitantly priced but super cute.
Yeah.
And so she's got great recommendations, like
Love
sort of
that.
unusual recommendations that way, like not just your regular stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the next one is L. Williams Style, and she's actually in Atlanta, and she's sort of all clothes. Is really sort of all she does, but she does Target, she does Old Navy, she does Saks, she does Nordstrom. So like she covers the gamut, Tucker Nuck, like, you know. So she goes
Yeah.
from high end to low end. Um, and has some great recommendations. The next one is Anna Mae Groves, and Anna Mae lives in Cincinnati, and she's just a hoot. She's so funny. She's a former makeup artist too, and so she'll have some skincare stuff in there. But she's got a sponsorship right now with Walmart, and the stuff she finds at Walmart, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's at Walmart. And she's just a trip. She and her husband they just trained and ran a half marathon, I think. And he was trying to get her to do cold plunge, and watching her in the cold plunge is worth the price of admission.
I love
It's
it.
so funny. But so she's delightful. And then the last one I have is The Strategist, which is associated with New York Magazine, but
Okay.
they will like test out, you know, like anytime I'm looking for an electric toothbrush,
Hmm.
then I'll go to the strategist and search and see which one they think is the best. Like just
Okay.
sort of random. And then they'll also do a lot of like best gifts under 25, best gifts under 50, you know, sort of gift guide
Yeah.
things like that. So I would follow all of those folks on Instagram and while you're doing your Black Friday shopping. Um, and then my last thing is a book. You can also follow this woman on Instagram if you would like.
Okay.
The book is Our Lady of Perpetual Hunger by Lisa Marie Donovan. And
Okay.
she grew up in Niceville, close to me,
Okay.
um, but she ended up in Nashville. She lives in Nashville, and she's a pastry chef. And she used to work for like Sean Brock's restaurants,
Hmm.
um, and has sort of gone off on her own and is doing various things. She just got a column in the New York Times, like she's doing a monthly column for the
Look at
Times.
her.
But her book is so good, and it's, you know, sort of her memoir. But it's a great story, and it's would be a good Thanksgiving read if you're looking for some of that instead of shopping. I would recommend it.
Added to my wish list.
Lovely.
Love that. Again, everything Mandy says to do, I do it, and I have not
You
been disappointed yet.
can tell my nephew that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell about the cake too. Look, lessons in chemistry so far, I'm like 10 chapters in, maybe. I'm not that far in. It is so good and not what I expected.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe because I hated chemistry, I was like slow to
Yeah, I was like,
really
what?
do it.
I want to read
But
about formulas.
it's so good.
It's
So good. And lots of rowing, lots of crew.
lots of crew, lots of crew. I'm loving it. So, I can't wait to see, to get through it and then be able to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. Um, But I hope everybody survived Thanksgiving. Listen, let me just tell y'all, my poor friend Casey in St. Simons,
Yeah.
she's 2 boys. Her younger son got sick. What's today? Wednesday. He got sick on Monday. Um, her older son got sick on Tuesday. Or maybe it was Sunday and Monday, because yesterday, the worst thing ever, her husband got sick.
Oh,
And Casey's supposed to be hosting Thanksgiving. She texted this morning, her mother is now sick.
oh,
So her sister, who lives in Atlanta, just dropped off all the groceries that she had bought and is driving home so that when she gets sick, she'll be at home and not in St. Simons.
wow. So I've got some friends who the stomach bug is going around.
This is the flu, but I think it's like the actual flu, not like a stomach flu.
No, this is the stomach. And her youngest, Christine's youngest, christened her hallway because he couldn't make it, like walls and floor and the whole 9 yards.
Oh no.
And they've all had it. I think they're all on the mend, I hope. I've got other friends with the vid.
Oh,
Just y'all take care of yourselves. And, there is no shame in saying to family, we're sick, we're not coming.
yeah,
And just stay home and recover.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let me tell you, this is not a bad way to go. So next year,
Listen,
if y'all
I'm over here cooking 2 turkeys. And you're getting your reading light.
I'm getting my reading light brought to me by very nice people. So I mean, I'm loving it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm so glad. So glad.
Yeah, the lady at the front desk today when I was asking for a room to do this, and um she was like, "Good for you for coming by yourself." I said, "Well, my job is literally to take care of everybody else. So every once in a while I have to take care of myself." So
There you go.
best decision I've made.
Good. I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah.
So glad. I hope it all continues to go swimmingly.
Yes. I will I'll put lots of pictures. If you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you do it. Mandee posts some hilarious stuff. Um and um if you will, this is so weird to ask, but if you will, when you listen to the podcast on Apple, especially if you'll just click the little 5 stars, that would be great because apparently the more people that click on the stars, the more it'll put us out there in the world.
Listen, we got our first business solicitation this
We
week.
did. Oh, I got an email this week. I sent it to JT, who, I mean, like, he's our person. I'm not straying from JT. But they said, "Hey, we've noticed you've gotten pretty popular. You're on some charts for Apple Podcasts. If you ever need any tech support," and I was like, I didn't even respond. But I sent it to JT. I was like, "Is this for real?" And he looked into it. He said it was, that they're a legit company. And because
Now, y'all,
we're
there's
doing so well.
there's no stopping us now. We've got tens of listeners.
And we do have tens. But I don't know what list we made. I didn't ask. I didn't want to. I don't care. Really, I don't care. But I just think it's hilarious. I was like, this has got to be a scam. It wasn't a scam.
Listen, look out.
We're doing something right. Now, on my other podcast, I have ones of listeners. One. Which is fine because it's not really.
I'm all ready for this Advent series you're doing.
Yeah, I've got to go
When's
write it.
Advent start?
Well, Advent technically starts on Sunday the 3rd, is the first Sunday of Advent of December, but I'm going to start it the 1st. I'm going to do the 1st to the 25th.
Okay.
Um,
I can't
just
wait. I'm looking forward to that.
It seemed like I should. So,
Good.
yeah. So that's what I'm going to work on now is writing some sermons and Advent devotions.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good. Well, friends, look, enjoy your Thanksgiving. like Mandee said, once you hear this, it'll be after Thanksgiving. So I hope you're enjoying your post Thanksgiving toddy.
And I hope you have some leftovers. If
Or
not, I might share some dark meat turkey with you.
you won't, because she'll be hiding it in the pantry.
Just the dark meats.
With
The rest we are keeping.
what do you do with it? That's for next week.
Oh god. Listen, the one thing you have to do is you get a plain Lay's potato chip and a piece of turkey. It's a perfect bite.
You know, the things I learn on here are just life changing.
Listen, happy to serve.
I
Happy to
love it. I love it. You've already mentioned it, but I feel like we need to give an official shout out to Birch.
Birchy
Hey
Birch.
Birch. And of course, we want to say gobble gobble to our very favorite Brooker. We love you, Brooker.
Oh,